Hey guys, thank you for stopping by my kitchen where I'm going to be showing you how to cook some of my favorite recipes. Some are easy, some not so easy. But not to worry, I'll be guiding you step by step how to cook them. So let's see what's cooking in my kitchen today. These are my ingredients for my savory pot roast. Here in the bowl I have a 2.5 pound of a chuck roast cut of meat. The chuck just makes such a juicy pot roast. It's really the best one to use. And I'm going to season it with the seasoning that I have put together here, which consists of 1.5 teaspoons of a steak seasoning. And I like the Montreal steak seasoning. And I've also added 1 teaspoon of kosher salt and 2 teaspoons of black pepper. And I'm just going to season the meat. Here I have 3 cups of beef broth, a good beef broth. And you all know I like the Rachel Ray beef broth for its flavor. I have 2 cups of diced onions, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire, half a cup of regular white flour, all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, and you don't need to use extra virgin. It's just the only one I use all the time, so it's always the one I have on hand. A 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and that's for later use. Here I have my vegetables, and I have 6 carrots, a whole onion, and 3 potatoes, but I'll show you later how I'm going to cut those. And here I have 8 ounces of whole mushrooms, which I've already washed, and I'm going to slice them thick. Okay, so I'm going to season my meat, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, as you can see, I've seasoned my roast on both sides, and I've already washed my hands. I started to preheat the oven at 275. This is a 4-hour process, so you have to be patient. I started to also preheat a large skillet in which I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of bacon grease that I've saved from breakfast this morning. If you don't have bacon grease, you can also use canola oil. Okay, my pan is hot, and I'm just going to place it in here. That's what you want to hear, that sizzle. And we're going to brown this roast on all sides, including the edges. Okay, so I'll show you when I flip it over. We want to get a nice crust on it. Okay, as you can see, I've already flipped my roast to the other side, and that's really what it should look like. It's creating a nice crust on it. So we're going to continue to brown this, and then I'll transfer it over to my roasting pan. Okay, I've transferred my roast to my pan, and I'm going to add the olive oil, and I've also lowered the heat on my skillet. Now I'm going to add the flour, and I'm going to stir. I want to make a roux, and we're going to keep doing this and stirring this until it's the color of peanut butter. Okay, so we're just going to keep stirring this. It's going to take a few minutes. Okay, so I'll be back in a few. Okay, this is the right color, and you can see it's nice and smooth, and I didn't worry too much about getting the bits up. Once I put the broth in, that's all going to come up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to saute our diced onion. And we're going to do this for 4 to 5 minutes. We're also going to add our thyme. Okay, so we're going to just cook the onions for about 4 minutes. Okay, while I was cooking the onions, I heated up my broth. Now we're going to add the broth to the skillet. And I'm also going to add the Worcestershire sauce. And the black pepper. You could taste it for seasoning, and if you think you like a little bit more salt, you can add a little bit more salt. We're watching our sodium, so I know it's okay for us. So we're going to cook this, and I'm scraping the bottom, and I'm going to cook this for a few minutes until it's nice and smooth and thickened. Okay? So I'll meet you back in a few. Okay, I'm just going to pour my liquid over my roast. And I'm going to cover this with foil and cook it for 2 hours. While the roast is cooking in the oven, I'm going to cut up my vegetables and get them ready. Okay? So I'll meet you back in a couple of hours. Okay, it's been 2 hours. My roast has been cooking in a 275 oven. So we're going to remove the foil, add the carrots and the onions, and put it back in the oven for another hour. Okay, it's been another hour. Now the roast has been in the oven for a total of 3 hours. We're going to add our potatoes. If you peel your potatoes ahead of time, keep them in water so they don't turn. Okay, and we're going to add our mushrooms. The mushrooms are optional, okay, but we happen to like mushrooms, so we add them in. Okay, so this goes back into the oven for another hour. Almost at the home stretch. See you back in an hour. And here we have my recipe for savory pot roast. 4 hours later. It is scrumptious. It's cooked to perfection. I really hope you give this recipe a try. It'll warm you up on a cold winter's day.